The subject is home science. Lesson number 5, meal planning. We have covered part 1 and 2. This is part 3. Modification of family meals for various age groups. Consider a family that has different age groups of people, grandparents, parents, children, etc. They all have different nutritional requirement. It is not possible to cook different kinds of meal for different kinds of people. There are old people in the family, there are school going kids. So we have to modify the foods which will match up to the nutritional value for all the family members. So there are 2 methods in which it can be done. Modification in the diet, 3 categories. The first category is quantitative modification of the diet. Let me explain. Usually people eat 3 meals a day, breakfast, lunch and dinner, right? But it may be different for different people. A pregnant lady may need more meals. She would eat smaller meals 6 to 8 times a day. Similarly, babies, they need 6 to 8 meals a day. Older people as well. Shorter meals on a 6 to 8 meal diet. Whereas an adolescent boy may only take 3 meals a day, breakfast, lunch and dinner, due to the paucity of time, the energy they need for playing, studying, etc. So they eat bigger meals. Adolescent boys would eat bigger meals in a day which would help him retain the energy throughout the day. Second part, qualitative modification of food. For a baby of 6 months or 1 year, if we want to feed a dal, we will not add spices to the dal. The same dal will separate the baby, for the baby, boiled dal in a separate katori and eat the spicy dal for the whole family. Add the spices later. We would feed the baby with mashed dal. Similarly, for older people, they need softer food like khichdi, dal chawal, which is lighter for them to eat. So, quality modification of the diet. Modification in terms of frequency. A person whose requirements are increased as per the age, the dietary requirements have also increased, but they are not able to eat that in quantity. What we can do is add meals in between the meal meals, like have fruit after breakfast, take milk in the night after dinner and add value to the main meals, between the main meals. First category is done. Now second category, through food exchange. Food exchange, let me give you an example. Modifying the diet according to the needs. For example, a kid doesn't like milk, we would give him an egg. If he doesn't like egg, a medium-sized katori meat, or a katori of pulses, katori of curd, paneer, etc. There can be food exchange. We need special diets sometimes. What is the need for special diets? You're all aware about normal diets, but sometimes we fall sick and certain parts of our body become malfunctioned. So we need a diet that supports the special needs that our body needs. Therapeutic diet is given to a person suffering from a disease, like a simple comfort food. Therapeutic diet, it facilitates recovery. We can't have the normal spicy diet when we are not well. So therapeutic diet, simple food facilitates recovery. Modification from normal diet to a special diet, like going for khichdi, dal, etc. when the stomach is upset. Normal diet and therapeutic diets are different. Normal diets include solid foods, whereas special diets would include liquids and semi-solids. So, diet consistency, which is easier for older people to eat, like milk, juices, coconut water, etc. So, types of modification in normal diet. We are used to eating a consistent diet, but when we fall sick, we go to a liquid or semi-solid diet. In the initial days when we have diarrhea, we could go for buttermilk, juices, coconut water, etc. But eventually when we are getting better, we could switch to khichdi, curd, custard, fruits, vegetables, etc. and then get back to the normal diet. Nutrient content that is needed in the body depending upon the nature of disease. For example, if a person has high blood pressure, then we have to stop taking salt a lot. We have to reduce our salt intake. That is important. Modification in intervals and frequency of feeding. Normally we ate 3 to 4 meals, then we can increase to smaller meals 8 to 10 times. Modifications in interval and frequency of feeding. Normally we eat 3 to 4 meals a day like breakfast, lunch and dinner, but if we are not able to eat that during sickness, we can go for lighter meals and frequency can be done to 8 to 10 meals a day for speedy recovery. Now let's discuss diet specific diseases, diarrhea and fever. Diets that we should specifically take in these diseases. Diseases due to infection like diarrhea or due to weather we could get fever. What foods to take in these diseases I will tell later. Malfunctioning of some body part. Diabetes, high BP, hypertension, constipation. Diseases that don't happen because of infection but malfunctioning of some body part like diabetes, hypertension, high BP and constipation. Foods that can be taken during diarrhea to reduce diarrhea. Soup is good. Banana, biscuits, khichdi, a mixture of dal and rice, potatoes, boiled eggs, curd. These are good to be taken during diarrhea. We should make sure that the food is low fiber. Nutrient content during diarrhea. You may remember that fiber helps in defecation. So, in terms of diarrhea, we should not take fiber. So, make sure your diet is low fiber diet. During diarrhea, frequent meals of 2 hours. Foods that you should avoid during diarrhea. Whole cereals, don't have that. Chilies, don't have that. Guava, don't have that. Don't have pulses, fried food, samosa, etc. Fruits with skin we should not have. For example, apple, if it is having skin, you should peel it off and then have it. Pastries, don't have pastries. These foods should be avoided during diarrhea. Diarrhea is done. Now let's come to fever. We can have semi-solid foods in fever. Nutrient content should be high calorie and high protein, which gives us energy. Frequency should be 2 to 3 hours intervals. Foods that can be taken in fever. Let me explain. Milk, chicken, fish, egg, fruits, its juices, soups, lassi, dalia, and kheer. These help in reducing the fever. Fever is done. Now let's come to diabetes, modification that happens due to malfunctioning in the body. Diet consistency, no change. You can keep going what you're eating. Normal diet with no sugar. If you have diabetes, do not intake sugar. Have a normal diet without any sugar. During diabetes, meals to be taken at fixed times, 6 meals a day. No sugar diet. Foods that can be taken in diabetes: vegetables, roti, dal, curd, milk, fruits, etc. But make sure these foods have been taken in right combinations and proportion control. Make sure that's a no sugar diet and that's not combined with any of these foods. Foods that need to be avoided. Let me explain. Sugar, definitely. Indian sweets, jams, jellies, cold drinks, juices, confectionery items, fried potato and other oily stuff. Diabetes, I have explained to you. Now let's come at hypertension. No change in the diet consistency, follow the regular diet. Nutrient content for a person having hypertension: low salt, very low salt, low calories and low cholesterol. Frequency of intake, no change. You can follow the same routine. Foods that can be taken during hypertension: vegetables, roti, dal, milk and fruits. These are good. Foods that need to be avoided in hypertension: ghee, rich in cholesterol, butter, fried snacks like samosa and all, it should not be taken when you have high BP. Avoid cheese, papad or ready-made namkeens. Should be avoided for hypertension. Modification of diet in jaundice, which has yellow skin and yellow eyes. Diet consistency: start with liquids like nimbu pani, juices, fruit juices, coconut water, etc. and slowly go to the normal diet like khichdi, dal, etc. Nutrient content: you should avoid ghee, butter, etc., low fat. Intervals: when you have jaundice, 1 to 2 hour intervals of food. You should take meals after 1 to 2 hours interval. Food that can be taken in jaundice: vegetables, roti, dal, skimmed milk. Remember I told you about skimmed milk? Fruits, sugar, etc. It helps in reducing jaundice. Foods that should not be taken during jaundice is fried food like pakoda, samosa, puri, etc., which are rich in oil. Should not take them at all. Modification in diet in constipation. Diet consistency doesn't need to change. You can follow the same diet you've been following. Nutrient content, it's very important to take fiber. Fiber helps in defecation. So take high fiber diet. Drink lots and lots of water, helps in defecation. Interval and frequency of feeding, no change. Continue with the same frequency. Foods that can be taken during constipation is atta with husk, whole pulses, fruits, green leafy vegetables, etc. Foods that need to be avoided during constipation is candies, chocolates, etc. Don't intake them. Suji, don't intake suji during that period when you have constipation. Bread, don't eat bread. Maida, products made of maida like Maggi, pasta, etc. should be avoided. There are some misconceptions, wrong beliefs regarding diets. Let me explain what. Some people believe that to get thin, we need to starve ourselves. So starvation leads to really bad health. Starvation is not good for health. Instead, follow portion control and low calorie diet. Starvation is totally wrong. Eating very little does not help in losing weight. Eating right helps in losing weight. The right kind of intake is important for losing weight, not eating little. If a person is having jaundice, it is believed that turmeric should not be taken. Two things, turmeric should not be added in food, and second thing, oily foods like ghee, samosa, butter, etc. should be avoided. No. Haldi is totally okay. Turmeric does not do any harm during jaundice. Oily foods, yes, we definitely have to avoid. We can't have samosas, etc. when we are suffering from jaundice. Thank you.